Hello and welcome to Reality TV News Update, where you'll find the most recent news, entertaining moments, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Fans of You Know I'm Right were aware that they were in for a treat when episode 375 was released. One of Big Brother's most polarizing and talked-about characters, Mickey Lee, sat down for a candid, unfiltered conversation that went far beyond alliances, blindsides, and diary room confessions. What transpired was not only a candid look at fame, pressure, regret, and growth, but it was also a reality television retrospective. From the very beginning of the episode, it was abundantly clear that this was not going to be your typical interview following Big Brother. Mickey didn't show up with prepared responses or quips that would have been good for PR. Instead, he told it like it was, sometimes awkward, sometimes emotional, and always persuasive. Mickey Lee did not stumble into Big Brother by chance as a houseguest or superfan. He talked about how he was a lifelong fan who studied seasons in the same way that other people studied textbooks on the podcast. He was aware of the patterns, turns, and mistakes that ultimately ended the lives of great players before him. However, Mickey acknowledged that playing the game and knowing about it are two completely distinct experiences. "Watching from your couch gives you confidence," Mickey said. "But once that door slams shut behind you, the confidence turns into survival." He said it was hard to find the first few days inside the house. He hadn't anticipated the psychological toll caused by the constant lights, microphones, and feeling of being watched all the time. Even sleep became a luxury rather than a necessity. However, Mickey leaned into his best knowledge, strategy, despite the shock. Playing too fast and too hard. One of the most significant revelations of the episode concerned Mickey's early gameplay. Mickey was criticized for playing too aggressively and too quickly on You Know I'm Right. He admitted, "I was scared of being invisible." Being invisible in Big Brother is equivalent to dying. He made significant moves before the dynamics of the house had fully settled because of this fear. His actions earned him respect from some viewers, but they also made him look bad. Mickey admitted that he hadn't fully appreciated the fact that several alliances he thought were strong were already breaking down behind closed doors, until he watched back the episodes. Fans had previously dismissed Mickey's actions as arrogant until they heard him admit to them. Looking back, he realized that patience, not constant movement, frequently wins games. The weight of public perception. It's possible that the most impactful section of episode 375 dealt with what took place after Mickey left the house. Mickey admitted that while contestants anticipate criticism, he was unprepared for the public's harsh judgment. He whispered, "People forget you are a human. They believe they know you because they saw edited clips of your worst moments." Mickey opened up about reading comments that accused him of being a villain, a manipulator, or something worse. He wasn't prepared for some of the comments, especially those that questioned his character outside of the game. The host of You Know I'm Right pressed him on how he handled it all, and Mickey didn't pretend he handled it perfectly. He acknowledged that there were times when he reset his sense of self by completely disconnecting, even from friends and social media. With the assistance of therapy, the support of his family, and some time away from the spotlight, he was able to process the sudden shift from anonymity to notoriety. The relationships that still haunt him. When Mickey talked about the relationships that were formed inside the house, some of which never recovered, it was one of the most moving parts of the episode. He talked about bonds that he thought were real, but he found out later that they were just ways to make other people's lives easier strategically. "There are conversations you replay in your head," Mickey said. "You wonder if they ever existed." Mickey acknowledged, without naming names, that there were apologies he wished he had made earlier and confrontations he avoided out of fear. He acknowledged that the pressure cooker environment amplified misunderstandings and turned small conflicts into lasting wounds. However, he also mentioned that some former house guests surprised him by contacting him privately after the cameras stopped rolling to offer closure and understanding. Those quiet reconciliations, he said, mattered more than public apologies ever could. Editing, truth, and a reality TV machine. The controversial subject of reality TV editing was tackled head-on in episode 375. Mickey was careful not to blame production outright, but he explained how context can drastically change perception. "You might talk for an hour," he explained, "and 10 seconds make the show." He talked about instances in which tone-deaf jokes were removed, strategic conversations were edited to appear more intimate, and emotional breakdowns were shown without the build-up that viewers never saw. While editing is part of the format, he emphasized how difficult it is to relinquish control of your own narrative. He claimed that accepting that lack of control was one of the most difficult lessons he had to learn, and it forever changed his perspective on reality TV. Beyond the games, lessons for life. As the conversation moved on to personal development, Mickey thought about the lessons he had learned from Big Brother. He stated that, contrary to popular belief, the most important lesson was empathy rather than strategy. "You don't realize how quick you are to judge until you're the one being judged," Mickey said. He spoke about learning to listen more, react less, and give people the benefit of the doubt. The house forced him to confront parts of himself that he didn't always like his impatience, need for validation, and defensiveness. He stated that facing those characters was uncomfortable but necessary. Would he do it again? Of course, no Big Brother interview is complete with the ultimate question: would Mickey ever return? His response was thoughtful but not conclusive. "If you asked me right after I left the house, I'd say never," he laughed. "Now, I'm uncertain." Mickey admitted that it was appealing to return with more life experience and a more relaxed outlook. But he also acknowledged the emotional cost and the risk of reopening old wounds. He is currently focusing on creating a life that transcends a single reality TV season. The Untold Story. Mickey Lee's willingness to own his story, despite its flaws, is what made You Know I'm Right episode 375 resonate. He didn't ask for redemption, nor did he demand sympathy. Instead, he offered perspective. People are often reduced to heroes and villains on reality TV. This episode reminded listeners that behind every archetype is a complex human being navigating an extraordinary situation under relentless scrutiny. As the episode closed, Mickey left listeners with a simple but powerful statement. "I made mistakes. They imparted knowledge to me. And I'm still becoming who I'm meant to be." For fans of Big Brother and skeptics alike, episode 375 wasn't just a recap, it was a reckoning. It also marked a new chapter for Mickey Lee, one that was based on the truth rather than edits or opinions.
Mickey Lee did not join Big Brother on the spur of the moment. He was a dedicated fan who understood the mechanics of the game and believed preparation would give him an edge. Mickey talked about how confident he felt when he walked in until the reality hit on the podcast. He stated, "Everything changed the moment the doors closed. The constant surveillance, lack of privacy, and unfamiliar routine made even simple decisions feel heavy. Fast onset sleep deprivation and paranoia forced Mickey to adjust more quickly than he had anticipated. Still, he committed to playing hard, determined not to fade into the background." Ambition, strategically, and early mistakes. Mickey's willingness to critique his own gameplay was one of the most revealing aspects of episode 375. He acknowledged that his ambitions sometimes hurt him. He pushed strategies too early and trusted people too quickly out of fear of being overlooked. Mickey elaborated, "In my head, making moves meant I was controlling the game. However, waiting is sometimes the smartest move." He realized when he looked back that instead of constantly maneuvering, he would have been better served by remaining silent and observing. It was eye-opening to see the events that occurred after his eviction, especially to realize how alliances changed without his knowledge. He saw the game and himself as a competitor differently as a result. The villain's story and the reaction of the public. The pressure did not end when we left the house. Mickey openly discussed how the way he was portrayed shocked him and how audiences responded. While some viewers embraced him, others described him as cold or manipulative. The criticism, especially online, was intense. He stated, "You prepare for opinions, but not for people deciding who you are." Mickey shared that reading harsh comments took a toll on his mental health. It was difficult to accept the idea that edited moments defined his character as a whole. To regain his equilibrium and perspective, he turned to family, close friends, and time away from social media. Real ties and regrets that linger. The emotional aspect of the Big Brother experience was also the subject of episode 375. Mickey talked about the relationships that were formed in the house, some of which were meaningful, while others were just for money. He knew that lying is part of the game, but finding out which bonds were real hurt more than he thought. "There are people I wish I'd been more patient with," he admitted, "and others I misplaced my trust in." Mickey revealed that a few former housemates reached out after the season ended, leading to honest conversations and, in some cases, closure. Those private moments, he said, helped him move on from lingering resentment and regret. Reality versus editing. Mickey approached editing with nuance when the subject came up. He acknowledged that production must condense hours of footage into compelling episodes, but he also explained how context can be lost. 10 seconds can define you, he said. On occasion, scenes intended as humor or strategy appeared harsher on screen. While Mickey didn't place blame, he emphasized how disorienting it is to lose control of your own narrative. He learned how effective storytelling and selective framing can be from the experience. Lessons beyond the game. Perhaps the most impactful part of the episode was Mickey's reflection on personal growth. Big Brother, he said, forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about himself, his impatience, his need for validation, and his fear of being irrelevant. He shared, "The game showed me my blind spots." Mickey developed empathy, not just for other people, but also for himself through self-criticism and criticism. He now approaches conflict differently, listens more, and judges less quickly. He asserted that these lessons were worth more than the prize money. Looking ahead, the inevitable query arose as the discussion came to an end. Would Mickey ever appear on Big Brother again? He gave a thoughtful and measured response. He stated, "I'm not excluding it, but I'd only go back as a different person." Mickey's current focus is on creating a life outside of reality television, one that is informed by the lessons he learned under a microscope. Not only did You Know I'm Right, episode 375, provide listeners with rare insider information, but it told a human story of responsibility, growth, and the truth. In the end, Mickey Lee didn't ask to be redefined. He simply told his story, and that sincerity was the deciding factor.